helping children and families to build healthy relationships. Here is an example of what Dr. Corwin does. Imagine you are really nervous about a math test. You have studied and studied, but you still feel anxious, nervous, and maybe a little bit angry. Sometimes it is hard to know what to do with those strong feelings. Dr. Corwin helps children recognize and deal with feelings in a healthy way. Please give a chapel cheer welcome to Dr. Ann Corwin.
Good morning, everybody. How are you? Good. Well, I'm so excited to be here with you this morning to talk to you about your brains and your bodies. You know, your brain and your body is kind of like a car. It has to have fuel. It has to have something in its body in order to run. Nowadays, we know it's not just gas, right? It could be electric, too. We can have electric energy in order to fuel our bodies. So what you put into your brain and into your body has everything to do with how you behave. For years and years, I've been working with children and families, and you know what moms and dads ask me most often? They ask me about you, and they say, why is my child doing that? How come they just did that? Because it's a wonder sometimes to parents about why kids behave the way they do. Well, I'm going to explain to you this morning why you behave the way you do so you can tell your moms and dads. How about that? Does that sound good? Okay, so here's the first thing to remember is that your brain actually is the most powerful part of your body. The back part of your brain here, it's called your brain stem. If that wasn't working really, really well, you're not going to be able to breathe. So that part of your brain tells you, okay, I can breathe, I'm alive, which is a really cool thing. Now, the most powerful part of your brain is called your emotional brain. It's the part of your brain where you can say to yourself, I'm mad, I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm disappointed, I'm worried, I'm tired. That is the most powerful part of your brain. There's chemicals in that brain. It's kind of like, think about your cell phone, how you kind of get in a place and you get a dropped call and you're like, darn, I was talking to my grandma and I can't hear her voice anymore because the call kind of gets dropped. Well, think of your emotional or your feeling brain is so powerful, there's never a dropped call, ever. So if you're feeling tired or sad or happy or excited or disappointed, that voice that you hear, that you have that feeling, is more powerful than any other voice in your brain. There's nothing more powerful than that. It pushes to every other part of your body and your brain. Now here's the thing that gets a little tough, I think, for parents, your moms, your dads, your grandmas, who's ever raising you, is that the weakest part of your brain is right here behind your forehead. You want to touch your forehead for me? This part of your brain is called your uh-oh. This part of your brain is the weakest part of your brain. And your uh-oh tells you what you should do when you have a feeling. So if you get a feeling like you're kind of mad at your little brother and you feel like you want to kick him, this part of your brain is what tells you, uh-oh, I better not kick my brother because if I do, I'm going to get into trouble. That's your uh-oh. Now, here's the part that gets kind of tough, is that your uh-oh is the weakest part of your brain. It's not working very well. And it takes a lot of years for it to work really, really well. As a matter of fact, it won't be working at its very best until you're 25 years old. Oh my gosh, how old is that, right? That's like forever. You can't do well in school if you can't read. So what I'm going to do is teach you about the ABCs of your feelings. So when your feelings come, you're going to know exactly what to do. It's the same thing as reading. It's called emotional literacy. It's to tell you how and what you can do when a feeling comes. So I'm going to teach you 3 things right now. Put one finger up. The first thing is you've got to be able to tell somebody, your adult teacher, your mom, even your best friend. You have to tell them first what the feeling is that you have. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, put up 2 fingers. Number 2 is you have to figure out, what am I going to do when that that feeling comes, okay? And number 3, this is the most important thing. Number 3, 3 fingers up. The third thing is you got to be able to figure out a new way to deal with your feelings when they come if it's getting you into trouble. If you're not listening to your, what's this called? Uh-oh. The uh-oh. If you're not listening to your uh-oh, that's exactly what will happen. That is called learning about your emotions. You got to tell what they are. What do I usually do? And if it's getting me into trouble, I need to pick something else. Now I have a game that I want to play with all of you. I'm going to need some volunteers. Don't raise your hands quite yet. But I'll need a volunteer to play the game with me. Now all this game does is teach you the 3 things I just taught you. How to say what a feeling is, what behavior do I usually do when it comes, and should I be doing something else? Now, in order to have games fun, you got to have like characters, right? You got to have some kind of characters. Well, all of our feelings are in your pockets right now. You guys have pockets? You have pockets somewhere, even if you don't have a pocket right now. All your feelings are in your pockets. You carry them around with you all day long. So I have some feelings here for you. These feelings are called POFs. Can you say POF? Okay, so these feelings are POF. There's 15 of them, and they're all in the shape, the faces are all owls. They're feeling owls called POFs. And they all have a different color. And they have a pocket. They stay in this pocket all the time. So if you had this pocket, you'd know exactly where your feelings were all the time. So I have POFs in a pocket, right? That's the first thing I have. Now I got to know what to do with my uh-oh. I have to know what to do when my feelings come. So guess what? I brought a friend with me. And my friend that I brought with me, you can see him up here on this poster, he's called Poffer. Can you say Poffer? Poffer. Okay, so Poffer is a wise owl. Matter of fact, he's got his own pocket. He has his own pocket, and Poffer has all the feelings in his pockets, and he stays in this pocket. And what Poffer does is he tells you, he gives you a hint. He tells you what to do when a feeling comes so that you won't get into trouble. You know, what we're talking about right now is we're talking about how you behave. And I want to tell you, if you don't know this, where the definition of how you behave comes from is a word that's called discipline. Discipline is how you behave. And guess where that word came from? That word comes from the word disciple, which means I learn stuff, I teach stuff so other people can follow me. So we're going to learn that also. So I'm going to need a volunteer. Now here's what, well, you might not want to volunteer. Let me tell you what you got to do, because it might not be something you really feel like doing. What you have to do is you have to come up here. And you're going to have to, you cannot peek. You cannot look inside this pocket. You have to pick out a feeling. And when you pick the feeling out, you're going to have to say what color the feeling is, because all feelings have colors. And then you have to say what feeling it is. And then all you have to do is answer 2 questions, and I'll help you with it. The first question is, have you ever had that feeling before? And all you have to do is just tell everybody in here, yeah, I have had it, or no, I haven't had that feeling. And then the next thing you have to do is you have to say, what do I usually do when that feeling